It was the towering Illimani Mountain that drew my husband and me to the airplane window as we lifted off from La Paz, the last leg of a 7,000-mile journey to Santa Cruz, Bolivia. But my thoughts ranged to another Bolivian mountain, where the previous May, our 25-year-old daughter, Krista, lay dying in a remote Andean ravine. In one midnight moment, she and her husband, Aaron Oslin, were resting peacefully in a microbus. They held hands as their puppy Choclo snuggled on their lap. In the next terror-filled moment, their speeding bus plunged over a cliff, tossing passengers out the window like rag dolls. It was August when we began the pilgrimage to the land of our daughter's last days. Krista and Aaron lived in Bolivia for just 6 months, part of a 3-year commitment in community development. They served alongside 50 families on the Rio Comarapa near the rural valley of Bañado de la Cruz. After Krista's death, their service organization invited us to see this distant land and to meet the people that had so captured her heart. Family and friends questioned whether we should go. But if we didn't do this now, remnants of Krista's story could be lost forever. We had lost too much already with her future. We could not bear refusing to know the last 6 months of her life. Nor did I want to freeze-dry Krista's image with memories that left out her daily actions in global service. So we chose a journey into terrible beauty. Most of all, we wanted to be alongside Aaron as he faced closing up the first real home he and Krista had ever known. I recall Krista's disappointment when she first saw their one-room adobe home connected to the community center. "We romanticize adobe in America," she wrote, in fact, admitting to her borderline depression at the sight. "In fact, I live in a mud and straw house with a little bit of cement. It looks like it's been baked in the sun and it's going to fall apart in the first rain. It looks like crap." Without electricity or plumbing, they needed to use a dry latrine and outdoor bucket to haul water from the distant river and springs. Yet Krista grew to love the River Valley home, which she wrote, gave her a peace which seeps into my soul. "I'm increasingly content and happy with my new home. I love that there's more donkeys, goats, and pigs that roam the road than cars. I love getting strong carrying water. I love taking hikes. And I love what being here does for our marriage." But a much more dismal scene greeted us when we arrived at their once cherished home. Newly planted cherimoya trees, vegetable and flower gardens stood shriveled from neglect behind barbed wire fences. "I need to go in alone at first," said Aaron. As we waited, I remembered a quote from a poem that a thoughtful friend had sent to Aaron. It perfectly expressed our sense of loss. "How could I ever prepare for a loss the size of you? How could I ever prepare for a loss the size of you?" After a while, he lit some candles and invited us in. Rather than the chill I had feared, the one-room home filled me with a warm sense of Krista's presence. Exquisite antique Andean tapestries hung on the white plastered walls. A red enamel tea kettle rested on the gas stove for guests, and a blue patterned tablecloth brightened the corner. I browsed their overstacked bookshelves. Dostoevsky, Barbara Kingsolver, Carl Jung, John Grisham, Tolkien, Brother Lawrence, Thomas Merton. What a feast of friends for the long nights of quiet, so rare in American society. Other books spoke of their work. The Complete Bee Manual, Building Dry Latrines, How to Train Community Health Workers. I picked up Toni Morrison's Tar Baby and thought about how much I will miss our rich conversations as Krista tried to merge her interests in women's literature, politics, and biology. Listen to this tape that Krista made and planned to mail to you for your 30th anniversary, said Erin. As I listened to her vibrant voice fill the room, she felt so close that I thought if I turned around, I would see her walk through the door. She ended the 30-minute tape saying, "Dad and Mom, I'm so glad you gave me life." The next day, we walked to the nearby schoolhouse. Members of the Women's Cooperative had spent all morning fixing a generous feast for us. Most carried babies on their back and looked much younger than Krista. Gathered around the table for lunch, they took turns offering words that described Krista. "Alegria," said Dionysia, her neighbor, and the women murmured their assent to the Spanish word for joyful. "A good friend," very funny. "A lover of children and animals," so encouraging, so beautiful. "A hard worker." Then 2 mothers told of dreams they had of Krista, a deeply personal gift to us. "In my dream, I met Krista one day at the river," said Nicolesia, a young mother nursing a baby. "Krista, I thought you were dead," she remembered saying. "No, I'm fine." "But how can you be fine? You're dead." "They took my heart in a box to the north and fixed it," explained Krista. "I'm fine, but Erin's not doing too well." How true, I thought. Knowing Quechua women tend to be very private, the affection and heartbreak that these women carried for Krista and their willingness to share even heart-encouraging dreams with us left me with a profound gratitude for their openness. As we flew back to the States a few days later, I knew we had been blessed by this trip into terrible beauty. Though nothing could have prepared us beforehand for an absence the size of Krista, the gift of stories offered afterwards would help us reconcile living a new journey without her physical presence. We had been seeing the final months in a beautifully textured life of a daughter whose actions lived out her belief in a holistic faith in God's love to all creation. Krista worked alongside others for basic things, a decent latrine, libraries and literacy for children, a sense of worth and community for women, a home where love dwelled. These were simple acts done with great devotion in an unknown river valley. Yet, because she was never burdened with a false sense of her own importance, she kept the joy. Such stories settle in the broken heart, inviting our memories to rest with them when we lose one we love. We are among the most blessed of parents to have seen and heard the ways she did this, at home and abroad. Memories of gold to endure forever.